listening to the questionnaire.
Say that again.
You're listening to the questionnaire.
I've just started.
Right here, for your ears, for your eyes.
The questionnaire.
Get your Comic on.
Poke it out, poke it out, poke it out, poke it out.
He's not a psychopath. He's not a monster. He's an artist. Yeah. What he needs is a patron. Yeah, so check it. Go over to the Patreon over there. Yeah, for the questionnaire, man. You can find all kinds of goodies now. We got extra bits from before and after the quest. We've got all the pre-show questionnaires, all the pay and cons. Pardon me, are going over there. You know, so you can check all that out, man. Because, I mean, you know, who can't use a patron? You know what I mean? I don't know if he needed a patron, but that's a whole different story. But it has been a dope comic. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, I am the Unknown Faction. Like I said, this is the questionnaire, right? And I might have had a mental error and done some things and done some things and done some things, but it all worked out. So it's okay, right? Because sometimes, you know, in a quest, you encounter issues to where you got to be like, and you got to figure it out. We're going to figure that out soon when we start playing D&D over here on the questionnaire, which, man, Hannibal Taboo made that so much more interesting when he and I designed my character and how that's going to go. And I'm very, very intrigued because what do you do when you have a person that's from Earth? Yeah, and I mean like our Earth, just to be clear. Yeah, but we're not getting into all that, right? What we're going to get into today is someone, I think the only individual that has ever made 2 appearances over here on the questionnaire before they were on their own quest. Yeah, the only one with that. Shiro. Yeah, I don't even want to try to pronounce your last name. I should have asked before because, like, should I try and butcher it? You want to see what happens?
Yes, please.
Should we see what happens? What?
It's gonna be fun.
Gunther?
Gauthier.
How do? What happened?
Gunther, while we're at it.
Yeah, Gauthier. I'm American, y'all. Sorry. And I don't know what else to say about that at this point. Because I have come to the conclusion that when it comes to, I think, and that's, you know, really I shouldn't say American technically. I'm just bad with names, period. I'm surprised I didn't mess up Tony Fleece. But then I seen somebody mess up Tony's and I was like, where'd they get that from? So am I the worst pronunciation of your name you've ever had?
No,
Right.
I've heard some special ones. I've heard the first one I think was Shirley Gauthier. I mean, like, really Gauthier. Shirley. Who the hell is Shirley?
All right, well, so we know I ain't doing that bad over here at the questionnaire, man. I know we were supposed to have a co-host, right? And, you know, because we've only been having a co-host over here on season 2, but been a little crazy. I don't know if you noticed, we got a lot dropping over here in season 2. I hope you've been checking out the past episodes. They've been phenomenal. But yeah, so Shiro just gets to deal with me mispronouncing her name, not as bad as other people have. How do you get Shirley? Like, that's really, 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 I don't understand that at all, right? And we're going to get into a couple things. Dominic gave me a couple pointers. He's someone that you have worked with and know well. So as far as you can check him out on past shows as well, right? And you can also, like I said, if you check out the Patreon, you can see Shiro do 2 phenomenal drawings. Because, yeah, they'll both be out because only one of them's out now. But I got to edit, right? But they'll both be out by the time this is out. And just making some crazy combinations. And then she's going to be coming up on another one again where she was like superhero chickens. And I was like, okay. And then Dave was like, I want to draw superhero chickens. And I was like, Dave? All right, you're on it. So we're going to draw superhero chickens over here soon. So I'm curious, with the strange things that you've drawn on the questionnaire, you know, the turtles in Akira Toriyama style, I haven't edited it, and it's escaping me exactly what you drew in the other one, Shiro, and that's terrible.
It was a combination of Chucky the
Chucky.
Killer Doll and Asterix the Gaul.
See, yeah, I'm not familiar with Asterix because that is a European comic. I've honestly never read it, but I did at least remember the Chucky part. So you can see her draw those two phenomenal pieces of art as well as she's going to be drawing that. So in that, what is the weirdest thing that you've ever drawn? Because I feel like those two are just kind of out there. And then we're going to have a superhero chicken on top of that, which is another level of, all right, that happened, you know?
Well, I have drawn some pretty interesting stuff. I would say the weirdest thing I've drawn came out of me just asking myself a question, because I don't know if you're familiar with Junji Ito, Uzumaki Spiral, his story Spiral. It's
No.
basically body horror, the twirl. And I was just wondering, out of nowhere, just like that, because in the story, a lot of characters will have their body parts turn into spirals. Like their entire body, or like in the first few chapters, this one character, first it's his eyes, then his tongue, then his whole body. And I just happened to think, what happens if they try to have sex? So there's this guy with, yeah. That is the weirdest thing I've drawn, just because I was curious. See, now you're curious.
Doing a terrible job at trying to keep the show PG with some of you creators. I know that much.
Hey, you knew what you signed up for.
I'm never quite sure what I sign up for. If I'm gonna be real honest with you, I think it's because I have a tendency to just be like, well, let's do it, and then I find out and have an image of people that are spiral trying to have interviews. Now, part of me is like, I want to see this pit. Do you still have this picture?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
Let me
let's
see if I
not
can pull it up.
let's not show it on the show.
No, but I'll show you later after.
Yeah, like
Promise.
show me the picture after, but I don't feel like that's something that YouTube would allow. Yeah, I can tell I'm right. In
That would be a
YouTube,
lot of editing, to put it politely.
I have enough to do. Let's not compound on that. You know what I mean?
You zoom in to follow the shape, and it's just blur and blur and blur. Oh, making myself laugh. Oh yeah, I'm going to invite the short, fat Quebecer. Nothing can go wrong.
Hey, firstly, no, that's phenomenal. I'm just sitting there like it. Look, when I said the oddest thing that you'd drawn, kudos, you really came correct. But I just had my brain initially like, huh?
I
All
aim to
right,
please.
all right then. That's a humdinger.
I
Yeah,
broke the J.
yeah. Yeah, no, you didn't break me. It's if you can
Oh, a
pull
slight bent.
if you can pull off breaking me, I'll be blood and well amazed. So I want to know then, what initially got you into art that led you drawing spiral people having intercourse?
Well, that's two entirely different questions. Because what got me into art is basically in my blood. I started drawing regularly at like 3 years old. Seriously. Mom gave me some Crayolas. I took the Crayolas and I drew a little dog and a little bird. I know, because she laminated those and put them in their wallet. They're still there. And I never put the frickin' things down. Now, what led me to drawing spiral people is just because I really like horror comics. See, two completely different questions there.
Well, but without the initial want to draw, I highly doubt you would have ended up drawing a image that I refuse to edit for the purpose of putting up on this video. All right. I'll tell you what. Here's what we're gonna do at the end of the extra bits from before and after the quest. If you're
there
over on
will
the
be extra bits.
yeah, if you're over on the Patreon, or if you go subscribe to the Patreon, there's a link in the description. At the end of Shiro's before and after the quest, I will slip in that little spirally image that is all about slipping in. And yeah, it's oh, I don't know. I need a co-host so bad right now.
I don't know. I'm having fun, me.
Just like I don't know how to properly swing it into something else from the. That's just yeah. So
Another
what do you?
news question 2.
Yeah, it's like question 1 was a doozy. I don't even feel like anything can follow that up properly with momentum either. To be real honest, like I don't know how you keep it going after that's where the show starts. You know, like all
Oh,
right.
it can't get any better.
Yeah. I mean, you could stop. I'm gonna stop. Factor's stopping his brain right now. He's gonna do a quick factory reset on Factor. Right? Okay, now it's back. All right. So I'm curious, because you were on with Rich as well on that PanCon, and I'll tell you during that PanCon when Rich broke out a stamp. My brain went, what? Like it really, really did. Because I never thought that was something that would be used at that level. And it's made me come to the conclusion that I know nothing about an artist's supplies. Now, you do both traditional as well as you do digital.
Indeed, I do.
So I think, and I mean, there's people that do strictly traditional, there are people that do strictly digital art, and then there's people who do both. I'm curious, what do you find in the mediums that the advantages and disadvantages from one to the other?
Well, on the digital side, in a way, it's cheaper because you don't have to constantly buy paper and ink and stuff like that. And sometimes you can do effects that you can't really mimic with traditional media. But at the same time, you don't have that same like tactile feeling because all your brushes will feel the same and it's very glidey, which is something that I find like really fun with the traditional because you have like so many different textures to work with. Like here I have a bamboo dip pen. I have like, this is just one of several brushes. This is my Galaxy and Blood Spatter maker. I'm laughing, but it's true. It's obviously a toothbrush, but like literally all you have to do is this. You dip it in the paint you need, and then you just do this, and it's really, really good at spatter and stars. And that's another thing that's fun with traditional art is that you can use pretty much anything if you're creative enough.
I don't know. You know Mike Ruth?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
He's one of my friends, actually.
Yeah, I love Mike, and that was stellar to get to watch him, because that was the first planned PanCon on the show that ended up with just and it was proof that I wasn't good at booking back then. I've gotten better. I screwed up today, but whatever. We're not going to talk about that, right? But that was the first PanCon that was supposed to happen, and Mike ended up coming on and drawing that. But I'd love to see the found object drawings he does. I think that validates your point completely, because I've seen Mike on over on his Facebook draw with some things, and I'm just like,
Mm-hmm. I know he drew with sticks. I'm pretty sure he did it with a pine cone. I think he did it with an acorn. Sorry, the French came out for half a second.
you're right. But he also
I'm French. English
yeah,
is clearly my second language.
he also did it with a an action figure leg, I believe.
I'm pretty sure it was a leg. I know he used
Yeah.
some action figure pieces.
Yeah, like so that does validate your point as far as when you're doing traditional, it makes it to where you can very much use anything, and it makes it to where I think it gives a sense of being able to put more of your own personality within that, I would say.
I would say so, yeah. Because, like I said, with digital, you can use a lot of effects and a lot of brushes. Most of the time, they're brushes and effects that you found online. So yeah, it's pretty, but it's not necessarily yours. Of course, when you put it all together, then yes, it's yours. But at the same time, you don't really have that familiarity with it, if it makes sense. Not as much as with traditional, when you get to hold the paint, and then you notice you got the paint on your hand and graphite. A lot of graphite. I'm left-handed. A lot of graphite. Then you're like, "Aw, but I had fun," you know.
Yeah, and that's
To
the
me,
other
the
thing,
mess is
man.
half the fun.
Yeah, in the process of making art traditionally, I mean, it is you call. I mean, because I just know just with painting and coloring and everything with my boy, and I mean, I'm firstly, let me clarify, I'm not an artist. I just do crafts and stuff with my kid and color, but like, if anybody ever tried to hire me as even like a colorist, I'd be like, are you sure? Like, dude, are you sure? Are you sure? I don't know if you want to be sure, you know? But I mean, it does very much make that mess, and I think there is very much that fun part of it that you don't get from digital. So I mean, and I mean, obviously, you have the aspect of with the digital, there is the advantage of, oh crap, I didn't mean to make that line. Click, and
Yeah,
you,
that is
you
very useful at times.
yeah, yeah. So and I think that's it, but that's intriguing, and like I said, I just think it's interesting. I wonder how many people have a misconception about the span and the depth of an artist's tools.
Hmm. That is a good question because, of course, there's always the fact that for the longest time, what like AI image generation is doing now, digital artists were accused of doing that. Like press button, receive art, and that's not what digital art is. You're still drawing the thing. It's just that you don't have to buy 3,000 pens. That you got them all in the computer, but it's still you moving the stylus. And then on the other end, well, you drew that so fast, it's so easy for you. Whoa, no, that's two different things. I drew that fast, but it was not necessarily easy. I am 41. I've been drawing since I was 3. That's years and years and years of practice there.
And I think that's the thing that people don't comprehend when they're trying to say, AI art's fine, all of this. It's the fact that they're saying, oh, well, you can do it fast too. Why can't I just get it from someone that's just a little bit faster? So what does it matter? And they don't grasp the fact that AI art is scraping other art and very much just stealing other images to be able to generate those, to where you and every other artist that's been on the show for that matter has had a plethora of time in drawing, and that's the only reason they have that skill. But why do you think people disregard the amount of time like that so quickly nowadays, it seems? Not even with just art, but so many things.
Society of consumption, I would say. Because with the internet, you're so used to getting everything now, and lower. Great. I'm doing it on purpose now. I'm thinking just in French. I got ADHD, ça paraît-tu? And
Hey,
a
look,
lower
if you start doing that, we're gonna have
attention
to bring in
span.
a well, we're just gonna have to bring in a co-host to translate because I think the extent of my French is like oui, parlez-vous français, and mon ami.
Sont les toilettes.
I have no idea what you just said.
Where are the bathrooms? You should remember that one. That's a good one.
If I
I'm
ever have
laughing, but
if
really.
I ever have an intent to go to somewhere where I know it is heavily French speaking, I will make it a point to remember that line. Sure, I'm not doing it now. I don't have the brain matter because I know it's not necessary. So even if I tried to retain it, my brain would go, nope.
Hmm.
I have that kind of brain. It's bloody well terrible at times. Sure, I ain't gonna lie, right? So how do you deal with your brain working on so many projects and making sure you're balancing them all properly because you are doing properties that are very different.
Yeah. For that, I'm using different apps because if I just base myself on my own brain, I would not get anything done. Because I'll be honest, I'm having a lot of fun on all these properties. I am. But once again, and I will probably say this very often, I have ADHD. Whether I like it or not, at some point I'm going to get bored and it's going to taper off. That's why I use several apps to keep me like on a leash to finish these projects. Like I use Habitica, if that's how it's pronounced, and Trello, both to keep my scripts and checks page by page with deadlines per page to make sure I keep my ass on track.
That's intriguing. I feel like I need something like that to be like, hey, you've got this interview coming up in 2 days. You better hit them. Yeah, I need a ding reminder. I think it was that's why I usually set a 1 day early reminder on all the shows, and sometimes I forget to click all the notifications. What are you doing to spend? Like, have you ever been in a situation where you forgot to make yourself a note and it put yourself in a bit of a bind? And what'd you do?
Usually I stay up all night to get back on schedule. Thankfully, that hasn't happened in a couple of years now. But I did do a couple all-nighters just to make sure because I was like, like I remember there was at least one time where I completely forgot the deadline for the Strange Romance anthology, one of the stories. I did a story for each anthology, and like that one was like 10 pages, and I was reminded like 3 days before the deadline, and I was like, I'm an idiot! And I stayed up all night sketching super fast. Wake up the next day, wake up a couple hours later, like eat breakfast while I ink. I don't do that anymore. I'm too old. 41 is not old. When you're a comic artist, it's almost saying like you're 100. Okay, shut up.
I feel like drawing, inking, any of that while you're eating would be difficult.
I am pretty good at it though.
I mean,
I was
I can.
inking digitally, and I got a little rubber on my keyboard so I don't get crumbs on it.
I mean,
I
because
think sometimes.
I know I've edited while I'm eating, but I mean that's more. I don't feel like that's as nearly as much, but I guess yeah. So yeah, as long as you're doing it digitally, I can see that it wouldn't be a problem. But I assume you wouldn't want to try that if you were doing it traditionally.
Eating traditionally, no. Drinking, I'm one of the rare artists that never mix up my rinsing glass with my drinking cup. I don't know how I do it, but I do it.
Wait, this is a common occurrence.
Surprisingly, yeah. It never happened to me, but I have a lot of friends that often reached for the rinsing cup instead of their drinking cup. I was like, how do you not notice? Like I zone out when I draw. Like I start drawing, and then 3 hours later it's darker, and I got an art, and I don't know how it got there. But I never mixed my rinsing cup with my drinking cup. I know to show off.
that just sounds like a terrible experience more than anything else.
Oh, it probably is.
Yeah, like I especially depending upon like what kind of paint and such you were using, like that seems like it could get real foul real quick is all I'm saying.
And I like to work with ink, so imagine, that must be awfully bitter. Like paint, at least paint is usually that you rinse in water is usually watercolor and stuff like that and acrylic, but like ink, that's thick. That's strong. If you're inking with a good black there,
At least you could just be like, look, I just ate a live squid. That's all it is.
Pay no attention to the black mouth, okay?
Yeah, I mean, just hey, people eat live squids. I mean, why? I think it would work.
With
Like,
ink spaghetti.
huh?
Yeah, it's a thing. Really?
Inked
Oh,
spaghetti.
you are learning tonight, are you?
I just inked spaghetti. What does that add a
With
flavor?
ink spaghetti, not regular ink.
Well, yeah. Like squid. Does that add a flavor? Have you had that?
I have not had. Blah, blah, blah. I have not had that. No, but I've heard about it and I've seen photos and stuff like that, but I've never had it. Most special thing I've ever tasted was shark. So
Ooh, how was that?
it was pretty good. It was a little bit like sardine to me.
Hmm. Kind of. Never had shark, man. I'd be kind of curious to try that, but I don't think I'd want squid ink on anything that I was eating. To be frank, that just doesn't like. I don't know how you could sell me on anything so terrible. All right. So what sold you? I'm curious on continuing and making comics the path that you wanted. Like, why specifically within art did you go this route? Because artistically, I mean, there's a lot of options for someone to go and be an artist. And I think it's the ones that choose comic. I think there's always some deeper reason.
Well, I don't know. I'm not really that deep of a person when it comes to comics.
Should ruin my question, Shiro. I'm going away.
Just enjoy it. I just like sharing stories, and I find I have more fun drawing the stories than writing the stories. Like for my webcomic bootleg cookie, I don't even write technically. I just use something that happened to me in real life, and I cut it up in 4 panels, and that's it. Before I did it on live stream on Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Plug.
There should be a link in the description. If there's not a link to that, there's a link to something that'll link you to that. Yeah.
I didn't even script them. Like I would just sit down, just think of something, and then I just would like draw, quote unquote, raw. Like no script, nothing. I would work it all out in my head. I script it only so it makes sense when I do it on the live stream now.
What did you have instances to where it was just very unkiltered?
Oh boy. Are you talking about the process or my life? That webcomic is like 8 years old.
I mean,
weird shit happening to me.
I have so many questions now, but like I don't know if they should be on the podcast.
No, it's okay. I'm mostly talking about my retail time.
Oh. So wait, you did a clerk
No, not that kind of party person there.
Hey, when you say strange times and it being in retail and just you don't know. You don't know. You don't know. I'll be frank anymore. When somebody says strange times anymore, part of my brain's like, I wonder what they mean by that. Because strange to a
Two
lot of
words.
people, yeah, it can mean a lot of
Body
different things.
fluid. Way more than I expected to see in a video game store. Which one, Shiro? Yes! The one you're thinking about, not that one, but all the other ones, yes. I'm laughing, but I'm crying on the inside.
But in a video game store,
This is going to look like a joke, but so much blood. No, seriously. Seriously. I'm not kidding.
why is there blood in a video game store that is not digital?
Well, we had a customer once that did not see that we were closed, and he busted our glass door with his head. He survived, but he left this gigantic pool of blood in our carpet while we were waiting for the ambulance. And when he left, my manager decided, oh, now's a good time to come in for my shift. And he saw the pool of blood in front of my till. He just looked at me like, Shiro, what happened? And well, I'm a clown. So I had to say, customer wanted a discount. I said no. And a lot of the other times, plural, is because my coworkers at the time were not super careful when they were manipulating stuff, and they would cut themselves constantly and leave blood on my shelves and my products. So I got real mad. I went to the pharmacy. I bought some My Little Pony Band-Aids, brought them in the store, and I put them on all the hands of the coworkers that were bleeding. A week after that, they were more careful. Except my manager, he was super happy to get Fluttershy on his fingers, like, oh, I like the color of that one. So he kept hurting himself so he would get more, and I was like, I don't care. As long as the other guys stopped bleeding on my stuff.
Hey, firstly, friendship is magic. All right.
Absolutely.
All right. Friendship is absolute
Tony
magic.
here.
Yeah. I mean, I know we had Tony Fleece on. He's done a ton of work on My Little Pony. Have you ever seen a xenomorph pony?
I have not, but I'm pretty sure 5 seconds on Google.
Well, but I could show you one done by Tony Fleece.
Ooh, I would very much like that. Yes.
Well, I'll send you that once we wrap, Shiro. Yeah, y'all can go check out Tony drawing that and a bunch of different xenomorph variations. That one by Mike as well. That they're all bloody bizarre. But yeah, I swear, and Dave said this, and I agree. Like there should be shirts of that. It's a xenomorph My Little Pony. Like it's one of those strange combos we come up with, like superhero chickens. Where did that come from, Shiro?
I think we established at the beginning of this talk that I have a unique way of seeing things, just because I'm curious. Also, I am very giggly.
I'm just very curious to see what comes of that particular pan con, because just superhero chickens, and like I said, I don't even know what superheroes we're gonna see. Like Shiro, with the way she's been doing things, is gonna end up picking like the Justice League or the Avengers or the X-Men. I can already see it. Well, you like to pick. Look, I'm just saying, like, that would make my head hurt personally. And then I think, do you realize how many species of chickens there are, Shiro?
Exactly.
Okay, well, I I learned that talking to Chrissy Wiseman, when she found out that we were doing that. She's like, "Are you aware how many breeds of chicken there are?" And then I went and Googled it. There are some really, 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 really funky looking chicken breeds, like in amazing, man. And I'll say, they noticed something kind of funky looking though. Like if I ran across a Rourke, like that would be frightening. What's been the process of working on that series? Because I know the creation of that, it was ostensibly just a character that was created for representation at a con, and then it grew its own life to where it's now dropping its 6th issue.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, I'm the colorist, so I kind of learn about the script like later than the others. But there's a lot of discussing, mostly between Davis and Andrew, and sometimes I pop in. Is it my turn yet? No? Okay.
And we will be having both of them on for a chat. We might just throw you in too, Shiro. I don't
Sure.
know.
They
I
love
don't
me.
know. I don't know who's co-hosting yet. I need to look at my calendar, but I'm trying to make sure these quests come out to y'all. So yeah, because I'm not even sure what day that is. I just know it's soon. I need you to recommend me some apps, I think, Shiro, to help keep me in line dropping things. It
Sure.
won't work. I want to let you know that. You could recommend
Well,
whatever
I
you
get it, because
Yeah.
the only reason I'm actually consulting my own apps is because I'm stubborn. Because it's not a habit for me. Even if one of the apps is literally called Habitica, because the thing is that one app is gamified, so it's basically it works a little bit like an RPG. You got your little character, a little health bar, a little magic bar, little experience bar, and the more of your tasks you do, the more experience you gain. But if you don't do your task, your little HP bar goes down and your little character dies and loses a level. And that's what keeps me going. Also, you can collect little animals and you give them food and they turn into mounts. And then, yeah, really.
Look, I'm already about to start playing D&D over here with Hannibal Taboo. Like I said, as the DM, and I'm probably going to be the only character that's there for every session. That's going to be enough to keep track of. Are you serious? That might get me to break my phone, Shiro, and I can honestly say I've never intentionally broke a phone, but hey, and I'd like to think that like the third time it annoyed me, I'd be like, screw this, and just uninstall it, and I have a problem. But no, you're trying to make life an RPG game. That isn't the
Yeah, pretty
like.
much. These are my repeatable tasks. These are my to-dos.
So we need to bring you on to play some D&D for real, is what you're saying.
I have never played D&D in my life. That would be a nice first experience.
You've never played D&D in your life?
Oh, all my RPGs are digital.
We're gonna definitely talk after the show. All I know is like after the show is gonna be way more entertaining than the show, I feel like at this point, because it's like, look, we're gonna show you this crazy picture that Shiro did. All right, look, I'm gonna show off this picture from Tony Fleece, right, which is phenomenal. And then we're gonna get into some other things. I just gotta look at my calendar for that, and I'd have to it would cause me issues, folks. So, yeah, I can't believe you've never all your you're a year older than I am, Shiro. And
I
everything
am
you've ever.
also a hick from Quebec. If I lived in Montreal or Quebec, probably I would have played D&D sometimes in my life. Where I live, there is no such thing. The closest comic book store is like 6-hour drive from here.
I
I
still
know.
think, yeah, you need to move. You need to move. You need to move. I don't remember. I don't remember who was so adamant about it on that past quest, the second one you were on. I need to still. I would know had I already edited it, but I haven't. But yeah, you need it.
No.
That's the
Y'all
most.
told me I needed to move, and I answered the same thing. I know.
Yeah, like 6 hours for a combo. What's the nearest grocery store? An hour and a half?
No, actually, that's just a 15-minute drive, thankfully. Like, we got a bookstore, but if I want like single issue stuff like that, I have to go like halfway down the peninsula.
There's nobody that would ship them to you?
Oh boy, that's another complaint. So now that the store I used to work with doesn't sell video games anymore. So the one good video game store is like an hour and a half away by car. And last time I ordered a game from there, it's like they couldn't understand that I was asking them to ship it to me. They expected me to drive down for a game and come back up. That would take like 3 hours. And like it's a 3-hour drive, but by the time for them to ship it to me, it took nearly a week. So imagine trying to get a comic shipped to me. That's why I have to use Amazon. It's actually easier for me if I want to support a small business to order books from my friend Kitty, who owns Jump City in Timmins, and that's in another entire province. I know.
You just live out in the middle of nowhere.
Yes, I am well aware. Thank you. If it weren't for the internet, I don't know what I'd do. Part of the reason I'm drawing so many comics is because for a long time in my life, it was really, really, really difficult for me to get comics. Like in the 90s, the only comics I was able to buy was like 4 issues of Spawn, and that's it.
Okay, now, wait. In the 90s, you got 4 issues of Spawn, but you couldn't find other comics around?
No, because I happened to find them like it was a magazine store at the time, and they had like this teeny tiny rack, like 2 rows of comics, and there happens to be Spawn in there. So I was like, oh.
Well, so was there nothing else?
No. It was Archie's around them, and I already had all the Archies. I own Archie. Heck, there's some right there.
So,
Got some there, got some there, upstairs, downstairs. I think the walls are lined with them. We got a lot of Archies.
that's one I could never get into.
Oh, I grew up on Archie. Like right above my traditional drawing desk, I got a picture of Sam Schwartz. Vote for Sam.
Yeah, I literally
the artist for Archie that developed the character for Jughead.
Yeah, literally the only Archie that I have ever read was the Afterlife with Archie, where they did
I got that. I'm still freaking pissed they abandoned it because I was really enjoying it.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah, it was good. But yeah, that's the only Archie I've honestly ever read. There was something about that just never really caught my interest, man. I don't know. I guess you could ostensibly say when it comes to my comics, I'm not much of a slice of life guy.
Perfectly understandable.
You know, I get enough of that.
I mean, even when they were doing like more action stuff at the time, it still wasn't very, let's use the real words, interesting. Like when they were doing the superheroes, like with Pure Heart, Super Teen, Captain Hero, that was Archie, Betty, and Jughead as superheroes. They were doing stuff like, Veronica is planning to spill ice cream on Betty, and then they would turn, and then Reggie would turn into Evil Heart, and he would spill the ice cream, and oh my god. Big drama in costumes, big difference.
I mean, fair enough, and they are very much made for, a younger audience, so you don't want to have it to where the stakes are, someone's head. Even though they've done that.
Afterlife with Archie and Chilling Tales of Sabrina are more interesting. There are real stakes. Well, as real as a comic can get, but there are stakes. Stuff is happening. Status quo does not come back at the next issue there.
So, but you're telling me you went from reading Archie to Spawn?
Yes.
That's an intriguing jump.
I jump around a lot.
Yeah, well, I mean, just I think in the span of just anyone that ever got into comics, like you would see, I think traditionally more of a flow. You know what I mean? Like, what can I ask? Do you remember what 4 issues of Spawn it was?
I believe it was, don't quote me on this. They're over there, but I'm not going to spend 3 hours looking in my archive. 94, 95, 96, 97. I
Okay,
know I started with 94. I know I have 94.
Okay, so way later in the run. And I mean, if you look at that as a comic, it's obviously very different from Archie, to say the least. You know what I mean? As far as in everything that it handles, and like I think more traditionally, when you see people get into a comic and a love of comics, they have a means, which obviously you didn't, of being able to check out some of the big two, ostensibly, I'd say, like whether it's Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, the X-Men. Those are the typical stories you hear when somebody starts on Archie, and then suddenly, they're reading Chris Claremont's run, or they're reading Todd
There
McFarlane.
was, because we're only talking about the comics that I was able to get myself, but I have a lot of hand-me-downs from some uncles, plural, that were French translated comics from the big two. There was a period in the 80s where every one of your comics would bottleneck into Édition Héritage, and they would translate it in French. But of course, in the 80s, I was way too young to have my own money.
Okay.
But I had an uncle that would collect them, and he was the type that he would collect something, and then when he got sick of it, he would give it. So when he got sick of his comics, he gave them all to me. So that was my stepping stone between Archie and Spawn.
Okay. I thought you didn't have one, and I'm just like, well, that's a
Oh, no,
jump.
don't worry. I'm looking at my steps right now, and I've got a Hulk somewhere with the first appearance of Wolverine in French. And my uncle signed his name on it, so.
Oh.
It's not even the cool one with the cover. It's just the one where Wolverine, Hulk, and the Wendigo is fighting, and then in the last panel, that's when Wolverine shows up with his first mask and everything, with the whiskers and stuff like that.
I wonder. That's funny. I wonder, based on the fact that that's in French, if you had it in a high condition, if that would increase or decrease the worth of it. Because I would think, I mean, and I might be, but I would think there would be less copies of Wolverine's first appearance in French like that than in English.
It's really hard to tell because obviously Édition Héritage doesn't do that anymore. Now it's like Glénat that has the licenses and stuff like that, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm just thinking it would be hard to find the information. Because I don't know a lot of other comic fans my age from my region. So it would be a little hard to Google too. Because I did look up Édition Héritage out of curiosity, and all they do now is like books for like kindergarten kids. So I couldn't even go in the archive there.
That's just interesting to think about that as far as translating into that. What do you see? I'm curious, and what do you see in the comic book market? There is just no comic book market around you, just period. Just it's nothing, or are there people
There's
there
a
that you?
bookstore, but I don't know if you're familiar, but us Quebecers, apparently, we're like very, very attached to the French language. Like, almost racistly attached, if you ask me. And we have these language laws that prevents us from using too much English. Technically, at this point in the interview, it is illegal for me to speak in English. That's not a law, but I'm just saying it's like very difficult. Like, there's a law that for signage on stores and stuff like that, the signage must be in French. If you have to have English, it has to be under the French and half the size. And we have this building called l'Office de la Langue Française, the Office of French Language. And somebody actually put in a complaint that our hospital was sporting bilingual signage because guess what? We have French and English people in town. it's a bilingual town. The people are not bilingual, but the town is. And they sent somebody to verify, and they threatened our hospital with a hefty fine if it didn't take out all the English signage. And I quote, I shit you not, I am making up nothing there. This is all true, what I'm telling you. There were not enough sick English people to warrant the English signage. Now, if an English people would go, now, imagine you're elderly, you're sick, and you're English. If you want to know where you need to go, you have to hunt down a nurse and hope to God her little badge has a little yellow stripe on it, because that means she's bilingual, and she's about as bilingual as our friend Jay here. I'm laughing, but no, it's because I have this nervous laugh thing going on. It's all true, what I'm telling you. All true. So it's hard to get comics here because not everyone will translate every comic, and the comics we do get locally, it's like condensed collection, like anthologies. And there's like 5 of them as we speak in the bookstore because I went yesterday. There's like 1 Avengers, and I'm not even sure what story, and there's like 2 Batmans. That's it. That's it. All the rest is European comics or mangas.
That is very, very, very odd. I've never I wouldn't expect that in Canada as far as for something to be that strict. And the fact that you say like you've literally ostensibly spoken too much English during this interview, that is so they expect you to go and do an interview with somebody who clearly doesn't speak but a not
It's not stuff that that like what I'm doing here, it's not something that they will necessarily enforce. But like, for example, on my Facebook, normally I should be writing my posts on my page in French and then in English under it. But I only write them in English because all my fans are English. But technically, I'm not supposed to do that. And like you said, in Canada, it's not Canada. It's just Quebec. It's just my province. The rest of Canada is quote-unquote normal compared to us.
That is so you're the deep south of the country. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Like, where I live specifically, I'm the deep south of the country. Like if you're quiet at night and you listen, you can hear dueling banjos in the backdrop.
As long as you ain't hearing because then you know you need to be worried and you need to run, Shiro. Are you serious? Like that? There's been so many points during this quest where you've made my brain go to
Hey, welcome to
what?
Quebec.
Hey, some of them were straight from you, all right? Yeah, straight from you.
No, that spiral thing, you can't blame that on Quebec, Shiro. That's all you.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. You can't blame that one on the Providence there. Oh my God, though, that is so crazy to me. I don't see why they would be so against that because I would think that them bringing that in, if they could make a profit on it. I mean, because do you think if they brought English comics in like that, do you think they would sell?
Well, they would sell to the English people. But like, we can have some English stuff, but it's really trickled in. Another example. Once again, completely true. I was working one day and then my tablet just stopped working. Little teeny tiny Raspberry thing. So I figured might as well upgrade, get a Santic, order one from Future Shop online, everything's good. They come back to me a day later to cancel my order. Ask me why.
Why?
The software that came with it was English only. They couldn't ship it to me in Quebec because the software was English only.
That's very, very controlling upon populace, I feel, more than anything else. Not that I couldn't sit here and tell you about a bunch of things from this country that are very controlling for a population that's within it, but to say that you can't have something because it's in a specific language, that seems a little much.
I know. And that is only one of two examples. Because the second example, you will not believe me. I tried to order face soap once. And that's this year. You're seeing me coming, aren't you? The eyes of realization. No, shit you not, shit you not, shit you not. I tried to order my favorite face wash from Lush, and they could not send it to me because they ran out of French labeling. That was their response. If I had a nickel for every time an order was canceled because it was in English, I'd have 2 nickels, which does not sound like a lot, but it's weird it happened twice.
And with face soap.
Yes.
That it's soap.
I know.
Why?
That was my reaction too. I'm not going to have a deep, heartfelt conversation with my soap. Like, if the problem is the label, rip it the fuck off.
That you really you're just trying to break my brain during this quest, aren't you, Shiro? With like a
No.
bunch of weird things and then like weird things that you've drawn to like some of the dumbest laws I think I've ever heard in my life. Like, and look, I'm American and I know a lot of dumb laws. I want to point that out that exist, but
And it's not like these laws are enforced. Like, if I speak too much English, I'm going to the Quebec gulag there. That is just these 2 times where they decided to really apply it, 3 times if you count the hospital. Which is even more stupid because we're a tourist trap, so we attract a lot of English people. So, of course, if these tourists get sick, oh, you're going to have to learn French real fast, buddy. If you're going to suffer in French.
yeah, that's I mean literally, yeah, because you're right. It is there is so many things that that I just I don't understand. Hey, I will say though, you know, your answer for comic book world you want to live in. I thought that was one of the more comical ones because I mean that would be an interesting one I think to see a pie chart of from all the creators as far as which world do you want to live in, man? I think I've had like I don't think anybody's ever picked anything from that. Somebody picked Gotham once, I think actually. I'd really have to
Oh,
think. Yeah, and I'm
I
like,
am
dude,
not
what's
built for Gotham.
yeah? I'm like, what's wrong with you? Why do you want to go live in Gotham? Are you really like? Do you feel like you need punished for something? What is going on here? Um, one of the guy who's in New York said he'd do Marvel. I was like, you know, you'd be in New York at Marvel. He's like, yeah. I'm like, and you make a valid point with that. There is no insurance anywhere that could cover you living in New York in the Marvel universe for what you would have to deal with on a every 2 to 3 month basis.
Kiss that car goodbye.
I look. Imagine how many times you'd have to replace that comic you really loved because it got set on fire that one time, and then that one time a building collapsed on it because such and such ran through it, and then another time like somebody just grabbed it up and used it for a weapon because it's the Marvel universe and that happens too. Like Bullseye threw it really hard at someone's neck or something. It's like, can y'all just leave that issue alone? Like just that one issue. I'm really sick of buying it. Beers, yeah. But as far as there are comic book worlds that are safe though, Shara.
I did not hear that well.
I said, there are comic book worlds that are safe.
Sure, if you live in the middle of nowhere.
No. My Little Pony's a comic book world.
Whoa, have you ever watched My Little Pony? maybe Generation Tree. I did not watch a lot of Generation Tree.
Okay,
But Generation
but
1 and Generation 4? Whoo, you better be a unicorn.
I mean, ponies ain't dying though, right?
No, but they do get a lot of collateral damage too. I clearly remember an episode from Generation 1 from back in the 80s where the ponies were all turned into crystal. That's not a lot of breathing there going on. And there was another one where they were captured through an evil male pony that was based off Prince called Nightshade.
An evil prince in my. You make me rethink my answer as far as because that's what I said was My Little Pony. 'Cause I was like that world's safe, and now you're making me be like that world's not safe. Ah, well.
Like I said, maybe Generation Tree, because Generation Tree was more slice of life than anything. Generation 1 was cute, but it had shit happening. And Generation 4, whoo, boy. Generation 4 and Generation 1s are actually watched, so yeah, you might want to go into Generation 3. I don't even know if Generation 2 had a cartoon. I don't even own any Generation 2 ponies. They're tall and skinny. I didn't really care for them.
Well, how about freaking Care Bears then? Is that okay? Or are you gonna tell me something about that's terrible too?
Well, that depends. If you're talking about the greeting cards or the current series, you're probably fine. Once again, if you're talking about the 80s series, you're going to have to deal with No Heart and Shrieky and Beastly. And in the later seasons, they did a Star Trek spoof. So yeah. And don't get me started on the movies. Those were freaking terrifying. Like there was this possessed boy with an evil book and
whatever. You still have the best answer for the comic book film. They did the least justice though, because yeah, they didn't do Deadpool justice in Origins. That personally offended. Look, it's the Wade Wilson of hip hop. Sure, that personally offended me. Like, how are you gonna take a character whose moniker is Merc with the Mouth? Hey, like I want to know. In what writer's room were they sitting around and they're writing freaking Deadpool, right? Like, and I hope at least one of the people in the room was aware of the fact that he's the Merc with the mouth, right? Like when the line came out of somebody's mouth, let's stitch his mouth shut. Why did somebody instantly not go, that's a really stupid idea, right?
it's probably that somebody did at least think that. But I think that specific Deadpool came out during the time where like the shareholders and the people that was giving the money wanted to like control the movies, and that's why we have a period where all the CGI cartoons had these weirdly realistic faces and wrinkles. Like Scooby-Doo had these giant irises, and Yogi Bear too, and where they were looking really uncanny because nobody wanted to say no to a shareholder. So that's probably what happened with Deadpool. That's what I think.
And this is why, in the grand scheme of things, it's artists and entertainers that should have control of art and entertainment. Because when you dictate it to a bunch of CEOs that are looking nothing more at the bottom line, you don't get Coyote versus Acme. And I'm pretty sure, based on an answer of yours, Shiro, that you're at least kind of as annoyed about that not coming out as I am.
I am pissed off.
Yeah.
I do not look it, but I am pissed off.
I look, man. I just got my boy into Looney Tunes. You know.
Between you and me and your 3 million followers, which I'm assuming they're pretty high, you can't make me believe that at least not one person on that whole team did not sneak a copy on their home computer. You can't make me believe that everybody agreed, okay, yeah, you can delete it for tax purposes. You cannot make me believe that. Somebody has a copy hidden somewhere. They smuggled it out in their pants. Has to be.
Well, and I mean, there are two films that I'm honestly really amazed one of them hasn't popped up, that being Batwoman.
Mm.
You know, like, I'm amazed that has not popped up somewhere for the exact reason that you just said. The Coyote versus Acme, I don't know if they're done trying to shop it around. I know they were really, really, really trying. I don't know if I didn't keep up with it enough to know if their time limit has ran out on that and Warner Brothers is like, we're done yet. I hope not. I hope they are able to get some kind of deal to put it out bloody well somewhere, because from everything I've heard about it, it's phenomenal. It's just a waste, you know. What do you think about that, especially in the span of the comic book industry, and how, we'll say, the brass affects the entirety of things without really being aware of things, especially based on the fact that the big two are now under the parent companies that they are?
Personally, it does feel like they still have a little too much control, if you ask me. Because, like, they're trying to sanitize the stuff a little bit. Because, oh, we're a family company, huh? And
That was
look,
a
I make a
really
pretty good Mickey Mouse, but I'm
that
not
was
that good at Bugs Bunny.
I
But
don't yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That was a pretty spot on Mickey Mouse, I gotta say.
gosh, thanks. Don't ask me Donald. I can't do Donald.
I used to be able to. I'd have to hear him to even see if I could do it again.
I can do the, but I can't do words.
I don't even want to try it live. I don't know. Yeah, I ain't even, because what are you? No, that's totally wrong. Like, I can't. I would have to practice that for a minute to be able to get because I can't just do it on the dime like that. I know. And plus, it's been way too long. I ain't watched Donald Duck in so long. I've been watching Roger Rabbit with my boy, and coming to the conclusion, watching Roger Rabbit, I was like, holy shit, this is not appropriate for children.
And then again, they took out a couple of the what they call the gags in the margin, because we all know about the one where Jessica Rabbit's twirl from jumping out of the taxi, and turns out she's not wearing panties. They took that out in the DVD. But there was another one that one I learned from the author of the Roger Rabbit's books himself, because he likes to post stuff about the movie and his books and stuff like that. And there was another one planned with Betty Boop in the scene at the Penguin Club, the pen and ink, the ink and paint club, where she shows up behind Eddie Valiant, and she will adjust her garter, and her top would slide down for 6 frames and come back up and show her, you know, YouTube, her assets. And but sadly, the brass saw it and took it out, so it's not even on the VHS. And it was actually a wink to the old Fleischer cartoons with Betty Boop, which apparently they would slide in a talent shot in the cartoon, because you animate at 24 frames, and there's some frames you just don't see at the naked eye. So apparently, in every Betty Boop cartoon, she takes a big breath. I can't confirm that. I don't tend to click super fast during Betty Boop cartoons. I just enjoy her voice.
All I know is this has been a pleasure, Shiro, and I have learned so many things. Some of them are very interesting. Some of them I'm not sure I ever wanted to hear in my entire life, if I'm going to be real honest. And again, some of them are some of the most weird things I've seen and heard about done by a government where I'm like, what? And you have citizens that only speak English. And you still do this? Okay. Okay. That's that's really, really, really weird. That's I think that's the part of my brain that can't understand is like there are people there that don't speak French, right?
My dad. I speak English because he has trouble with his French. He understands French perfectly well, but it's like his French doesn't come out as well as he thinks it. Like my Spanish doesn't come out as well as I think it.
I mean that's
But yeah, my
fair.
dad counts as unilingual English.
There's second languages, man. That's completely fair. It's I don't, but that's what I'm saying. It's so weird to hear that from a government. And now I think I want to see like what Shiro drew, to be real honest, because there's part of my brain that's like, do what, do what, like no, what? That don't even sound right. It don't, right? But before we wrap up, I want to let you know, right, for all you out there, right, check it out. There's a bunch of links in the description. You can check out all of Shiro's works, man. There's like, I don't know, there's a bunch. You sent me a bunch of links. You really did. That's a lot.
I did a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like just this week, I finished the art for Barbarian Queen Charybdis, so we'll be able to send them to the printer. So that's gonna be fun. Looking forward to that.
Don't. You won't. You made me. All right. Why? You know, it happens. Whatever. So we're just gonna get into it. So what is? I'm honestly not exactly aware of that. I'll be real honest. So give me a pitch.
Barbarian Queen Charybdis exists in the world of Maelstrom, and basically, well, I am losing my English. Her and her friend Slink are traveling the world of Maelstrom in search of her daughter that was kidnapped by the evil necromage. It's a barbarian story and more. Because she's queen of the barbarian and the necromage destroyed like her entire life, which will be explained in detail in the gross juicy detail in the book. And he kidnapped her daughter, and now she travels to retrieve her. Now the thing is, she's been traveling a while. The thing with Maelstrom is that the locations do not stay in one place, so she's been traveling a while in search of a map. So when we meet her, she's actually past her prime. So it's to see her travel all this time. Like, she's still pretty strong. She's a barbarian, but she's not in her prime anymore. So it's just to see her, like, do all that and having to wrangle Slink. Slink is a whole other story.
Wait.
He's a thief. That's
Yeah.
all you need to know.
Okay. Nice. I'm intrigued. I need to. You ever need a 36-hour day, Shiro? You feel me?
Since I drop pretty fast, I'm pretty good.
Whatever. Right. Right. But like I said, for all y'all out there, make sure you check the links in the description. Shiro, it's been a pleasure. So, if y'all have enjoyed this as much as I have, what I want you to do, right, is I want you to send Shiro a unicorn, right, with a bunch of them old school 90s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures. Like a whole collection. And you better include the sewer play set, right? And apparently spinach. So whatever. I mean, if that's your favorite food, but I guess we're gonna send her spinach because that's what she likes, right? Right now, if you haven't enjoyed this interview, right? Firstly, how'd you make it this far? Did you skip ahead? What's up? Did you know this was coming and this is where I tell this bit? So you were like, I'm going to jump to this point so I can find out how to mess with somebody? Don't do that. Enjoy the quest. Find out about the creator, right? I'm just saying, right? But if for some reason you didn't, right, what I want you to do is I want you to send a zombie, right to Shiro's house, right?
Jerk.
Smelling like her mother's homemade mac and cheese, just like slathered in it, right? Slathered in it. To go in there and tie her down in front of a TV and turn on the Hallmark channel. Yeah. But again, that's just if you didn't enjoy this interview. And sincerely, I really truly hope you did because it's been a pleasure, Shiro. Right? Now, again, like I said, check out the links in the descriptions. Besides that, I just got 3 things I want you all to do. 1, give it that thumbs up or, whatever the equivalent is. We're a lot of places, and I know they don't all have thumbs. But we do, so you can use them to, like, type comments and stuff, right? 2, always get your comic on. 3, have a good night, y'all.
This has been the questionnaire.
Where's the link?
Thanks for checking out the questionnaire.
In the link below, yes?
I will drop it like it's hot.
That's another party.
It's cool, man. I love it.
The questionnaire. That is all.